Hi, I very recently finished Simon vs. the Homo Sapien Agenda by Becky Albertalli. I hope I didn't butcher that. I'm sorry, Becky, if I did. And it was so good. So good. So good. So, quick synopsis. It's about this closeted gay kid in high school. He's a junior in high school, and he is getting blackmailed by this other kid who knows that he's gay after seeing an email exchange between Simon, the main character, and a character named Blue, a romantic email exchange. And they talk, and in the email exchange they talk about being gay. Blue is also a closeted gay kid at Simon's high school, and they don't know each other's identities, true identities. So that's the basic plot, and it's kind of about Simon coming to terms with who he is and like being able to share it with others, along with him kind of falling in love with Blue and figuring that out. It's so good. It's so good. It's so good. So, alright, let's get down to the nitty-gritty, the review part. So, we're going to start with the plot. Holy cow. It's probably, I'm going to put this down here because people are texting me. It's probably one of the longer climaxes I've experienced. I would say, okay, first of all, like, spoilers, because I'm just going to talk about everything. So, Simon gets outed about halfway through the book against his will because the character who's blackmailing him, Martin, outs him, basically. And so that's like where I'd say the climax kind of begins. It starts out with, when Simon is outed, he actually has only himself come out to one person, his one friend Abby, who has an interesting relationship with his other friend Leah. Abby is much newer to the friend group than Leah is. It's Abby, Leah, Nick, and Simon are like the core four, kind of. And so Simon, Nick, and Leah have been like best friends since they were very small, and Abby moved here from DC this past year, and so Simon found it almost easier to tell Abby because she hasn't known him very well. At least that's his own explanation of it, so she's the only person who knows. So when he's outed, Leah gets upset. Nick gets like a little bit upset that he didn't know, but like not really. But Leah does get very upset that he told Abby before he told her. Leah also has a little bit of is kind of envious of Abby. Leah likes Nick, and Nick very obviously likes Abby, so she's envious of the fact that Abby has all of Nick's attention. So there's that ish going on. Along with that is also Simon's romance with Blue. So it kind of starts off a little flirty, but it like gets flirtier as the book goes on, and it's like really cute as well because it's completely anonymous, so neither really are afraid to say what they really mean because it can't be traced back to a person necessarily. However, shortly after Simon gets outed, Blue tells Simon that he's figured out his true identity, and Simon kind of freaks out because, you know, Simon's pretty much accepted the fact that he's in love with Blue by now. So Simon like just freaks out, and he and Blue kind of stop emailing each other, and Simon's pissed at Martin because Martin outed him. And back up, I have to tell you about the blackmailing part. So Martin also likes Abby, so basically he's blackmailing Simon to get him more time with Abby, or like more interaction with Abby. So that's basically the blackmailing thing. And then Abby like turns him down because Abby's like not interested. And then Martin gets pissed because like both Abby and Simon are like really touchy-feely. So they're like cuddling, and Martin gets like pissed even though he knows Simon's gay, and he like posts the thing on social media. But so then like the whole thing just like Simon's whole life kind of just goes down to the dumps, and he's getting really upset because like Leah's not talking to him. Abby of course is talking to him because Abby has her together, and Simon desperately wants to know who Blue is. And then you come to the end of the book, and Simon says to Blue, he emails Blue, and he's like, look, I know we haven't really been talking, but I'm gonna be here, I'm gonna be at this carnival, I hope to see you there. And then Blue shows up, and then you're like, oh my god. And so I also want to talk about a little bit about how Blue is planted, I guess. So Blue is a character. I'm not going to say who it is necessarily, even though I've already done a lot of spoilers, in case someone hasn't figured out by now that I'm just doing spoilers. So Blue is planted as a character who is mentioned a lot, but not necessarily gone into depth with. So it's not like you're not necessarily learning about two separate characters and then having to combine them, which is really convenient actually, because then you don't have to go through this whole like crisis in your head of, oh my god, they're like the same, because you really don't know that much about this other character, about who Blue is through his actual personal identity. Another thing that is really nice is I had a very good guess as to who Blue was. About halfway through the book. And what kept me reading is I wanted to know if I was right. And these were through very, very tiny, tiny clues that I probably look out for because I do enjoy writing. So I look for things from a writer's perspective a lot. However, my roommate Max read the book and he had no idea who Blue was until Blue revealed himself. So that was amazing. Okay. I do want to talk about characterization. The characters are so great. Well, most of them are so great. So you have Simon, who is the main character, who's so funny. He's sarcastic. He tries to be cynical. He really isn't that cynical. He has a lot of conflict going on, and he really just doesn't know a lot of the times, and that's okay. And then we have Abby, who is the new girl, and she's a great character. She's so caring and considerate, and she's really always there for Simon. So Abby's sweet, Abby's considerate, Abby's caring, Abby's very much like that. Abby's the friend everyone needs. Abby's the friend who's always there for you, and she's just like the friend who comes and like gives you a hug when you're upset. Nick is who Simon would consider to be his best friend. However, he doesn't really have that much of a personality. Nick likes Abby, so there's that. Nick is also a big musician, but he also plays a lot of video games, which takes away from his personality because it's like all he does. Leah just has a lot of envy and jealousy issues, where she seems like she's a very passionate person, but she also is kind of envious. So those are like his friends, and then you have Bram and Garrett, who are just like mentioned and not really talked about, but they're Nick's friends from soccer. Nick also plays soccer. Then you have Martin, who sucks. Martin's the one who's doing the blackmailing, and he's clever and he's funny, but he's also like a little bit sleazy, so he kind of sucks. And then you have Cal, who is in the musical with Simon and Abby, and he is a dreamboat, according to Simon, and he's got beautiful blue eyes. And he seems like he's really sweet. And he's bisexual, so like he has a special place in my heart. So that's pretty much it. I highly recommend. 5 out of 5 stars. It's so good. And also, the movie Love, Simon, which is coming out on, it doesn't say, in March sometime, is based on this book. So if you want to see the movie Love, Simon, I highly recommend reading the book first. Alright? Bye!